Hello futuristic developers. If you are watching this tutorial, then congratulations. You are watching the best React Gym website in terms of design, responsiveness, code and many more. By following this tutorial, you will learn how to manage folder structure in React, the best pure CSS practices, how to make the responsive design, the use of email.js library and many more. If you like my work, then do support me on Patreon and hit the subscribe button for more awesome future tutorial. Let's start. So here I am in a blank VS Code directory, and mostly we start our React project by writing npx create react app. But as I always says that there is a problem with this command, it installs too much extra stuff that we never gonna use. And as I always provide a starter pack for every project, so similarly I also have provided a starter pack for you guys. So I will provide this GitHub repository link in the description. You have to just copy this URL, and here instead of writing npx create react app, write git clone and paste the link. Now hit the enter button and wait for cloning this starter pack. So here our starter pack has been cloned successfully. Now what I will do, I will go to inits directory. Here I am opening the VS Code and just close this one. So yeah, and in this new directory I am opening my VS Code directly. Okay, so first let's start by starting our development server, and to start its development server first we have to write the yarn. It will install all the required npm modules for this project. So all the modules have been installed successfully. Let's write yarn start to start the development server. So here our app is running successfully. As you can see, it's only saying subscribe ZAINKEEPSCODE. So this is a very basic normal setup for a starter pack. What I have in this starter pack? Okay, so first of all, inside the public folder and in the index.html, I have pasted a font and give all the body that font family that I have connected from the Google font. Okay, and then for more, inside the assets folder I have all the pngs and svgs required to complete this project. Furthermore, inside the data I will explain you what I have inside the data folder later in the project. For now, let's see what I have inside the app.js. It's a very simple span saying subscribe ZAINKEEPSCODE and nothing special. And inside the app.css I have made some variables of colors, so we don't need to write them manually by figures like 656. We just write the name of a variable, calorie card, dark gray, orange, just like this. For more, I have made some styling for our application. For the whole application I have given it a background image, and that's a really long name for an image. Basically it's not a name, it's a base 64 converted image, and it will add the noise effect in our project. As you see in the deployed version, there is a little bit of noise all over the app. As you can see, it's all around. So to produce this nice effect I have used this image. Then I have given it the blend mode of overlay and the background color of this gray, which is the app color, and the flex direction of column. It's basically a very normal setup. You don't have to change it. And if you notice the last property, WebKit scroll bar, so I have disabled the scroll bar for our whole application. As you see in the deployed version, we have no scroll bar on the right side because I like the effect of no scroll. So now I think you have enough information to start the project. So let's start our project by writing our first component, and to write the components I will make a folder inside the src with the name components like this, and inside the components I will make our very first component hero section. So let's make a folder for that component, and inside this I will make two more files. hero.jsx and similarly hero.css. Okay, let's open them side by side like this. And what is the hero section? Here you can see this is all the hero section, which includes our hero text, the hero image and the header. All these things are included in the hero component. So inside the hero.jsx, I am writing RAFC, the fat arrow react function. By the way, you can also use the same shortcuts by installing an extension named ES7. You can find it easily in the extensions tab of the VS Code. Okay, after this, just remove this pre-built div and here make another div with the class name of hero. Okay, it's time to import the CSS for the same file hero.jsx and it lies in the same directory hero.css. After making this, I have to import this JSX inside the app.js. So I will go to the app.js and instead of this span which is saying ZAINKEEPSCODE, I will just delete it like this and here import the hero section by HERO, means auto import. Let's save this and inside the hero section I will divide it into the two parts. The first part will be the left of hero and similarly the second one which will say the right of hero. Okay, so why I am dividing this into two parts? If we have a look at the pre-built version here you can easily see that on the left side we have this hero text and these figures and this add type section, the logo and the header. While on the right side we have this join now button, these PNGs and images and other things. So to have a clear structure of our hero section, I am dividing this into two parts because you can imagine how much content it is containing. So therefore I am dividing it. Let's say I am saying it as left side and for the right side I will just say it as right side. And inside the hero.css I will target the most parent class hero, make it as display flex with the justify content as space between. Let's save this and also save the JSX. Let's see, here I have the left side and here I have the right side towards the corner of screen and the space in between them because we have made here justify content space between. Let's make something useful. So I will just delete this left side text from here and I am making an embedded component, the header component. So header, of course we have no header component till yet. So first of all let's make the folder header and make a JSX header.jsx and also CSS header.css. Now as I already did the CSS on the right side, then RAFCE imported CSS, import header.css and then instead of this I will say div.header and let's say for now only header, save it and here we have to auto import it. Just place the cursor here and press Ctrl plus space. It will generate the auto suggestions and select it. Now it is auto imported. How cool is that? By the way, let's save it and have a look. Here we have the header, means it is imported successfully. Let's write something inside the header. First of all, I will import the logo of our Fit Club. So I will say image and giving it a source of logo like this. I have to import the logo from the assets folder as I have in my directory here. So yeah, let's write import logo from go outside, then assets and logo.png like this. Now let's save this and here we have the PNG. By the way, I have zoom in the page, so let's make it correct, reset it. Okay, it's time to fix the width and height of logo. I will go to the header.css and first of all I am making the header as display flex with the justify content again as space between like this. Now I am targeting the logo and for the logo I am setting its width as 10 rem and the height of 3 rem. Let's save this and there is no difference because here I have to give the class name of logo for our image. So let's give a class name logo, save it again, and now it has correct width and height. I also want to give some distance between the content and the corners of our screen. So what I will do, inside the hero.css, I will target the left hand side because our header is in the left hand side, and I am giving the padding of 2 rem. Let's see. Okay, let's make the distance from the top a little bit smaller. So I will say padding top of 1.5 rem will be enough. Okay, now it's looking good. It's time to make the header menu as we have in the deployed version. Okay, I should make the text a little bit smaller and on the word wrap. Okay, now I am making an unordered list, and inside the unordered list I am making 5 list items like this. So our first item is home. Let's save this and have a look. Here is the menu. It's time to style this menu. So first of all, I am giving it a class name of header menu. So what I will do, I am going to the header.css here and target the header menu like this, and I am making its list style first of all as none because I don't need the round bullets, and display flex with the gap of 2 rem and the text color of white. Okay, so text color white. Yeah. So here is the header with the correct white font. Okay, so everything is correct, but the only problem is the width of our left side of hero section is not correct. As we see here, it has a little bit more width than the right side. So to make this possible, what I will do, for the hero.css, I will say for the left side give the flex of 3, and then for the right side I will target the right side and give it the flex of 1. So the left side will have 3 times the width of right side. Let's see again. Okay, now it's looking perfect. For more, I will say the header menu items. So I will target the header menu. All the items will have cursor like pointer. Let's save this, and now you can see the pointer on hovering these list items. For more, I want to change the color of these items, so I am just copying this and paste this, and here we can say that on hover make the color text as our variable orange we have inside our app.css, or I can also just delete this one. Okay, now let's save this. Okay, there is an error because I have not put here semicolon. Okay, so here when I hover, it's looking very good. So it's time to make this div which is saying the best fitness club in the town, and it also have a little bit of animation as there is another div which is sliding from left side to right side, but we will focus on the animation in the latter part of our tutorial. Okay, so what I will do, I will go to, of course, the left hand side and just close the header for now as it is completed for now. Okay, below the header I am making another div and giving it a class name of the best ad because it is saying the best fitness. Okay, inside this I am making an empty div, and after the empty div I am making a span which is saying the best fitness club in the town. Okay, let's save this and have a look. Here it is saying the best fitness club in the town. Now I am also closing header.css, and for the left side I am making it as display flex with the gap of around 2 rem and the flex direction of column. So here you can see that now we have gap as this div is now a flex. I am targeting the best ad like this, and first of all give it a margin top of 4 rem, so it will be a little bit more down than before. Okay, and then I am giving it a background color, so the background color something like this. Let's save this, and here it have a background color. And then after this I am giving it a border radius of 4 rem and the width of just fit the content. Don't take any extra space. At the padding of 20 pixels and from both sides it will be 13 pixels. Let's save this and have a look. Okay, now it's clearly in a form. Now we have to change the text. So to change the text I will say the text transform uppercase. Now all the text will be in the uppercase and the color will be white. Let's save this. It's looking too much fine now. For making another div behind this best ad, which is the orange div like this, I am giving it a position of relative, and for more the display flex with the align item center and the justify content as the flex start. So you should write it as flex start. Only start is not. Here is our best ad. Okay, it's time to make an other smaller div inside this div. So what I will do here, I am targeting it as the best ad contains an other child div. For that div, make the position as absolute with the background color of orange like this, and then the width of 5.4 rem, height of 80% of the total div with the left of 8 pixels. So it will have the 8 pixels distance from the left side as it is position absolute, and the border radius of 3 rem. So let's save this and have a look. Here I have a div, but still there is a problem with this div. So let's try to solve this problem first with the Z index. So I will say the best ad containing a span, and for that span simply make the Z index as 2, and for this make the Z index as 1. So let's save this, and yeah, that solved our problem. Now the smaller div is behind the text span, similarly to this one. It's time to make our hero heading. So for the hero heading, I should also comment out all the sections so code will be more readable. I will say the best ad, and then it is closing here. I should make the hero heading, and for the hero heading I am making a div with the class name of hero text, and inside this text I will again have some divs. Why I am not having directly the span? Because if we have a pre-built version, you can see that the styling of these spans are changed. This is a type of outline text and this is a filled text. So I will put these texts inside the separate spans so I can style them separately. So this will lie inside single div and this will lie inside an other div. So first of all I am making a div, and inside this div there will be two spans. So just like this, and for the first span I will say shape, and the second span will contain your. Let's format the code, hit the save button, and here I have these two texts. Okay, let's make a space here, and similarly make the div for the other text. So here I am making another div with the span inside this div. So the span will say ideal body. Let's save this, and it's time to style the text. Here I am targeting it as hero text with the display flex direction of column of course, and the gap of 1.5 rem. So as I am giving here the gap and the text transform of uppercase, so everything will have the capital letters with the font size of 4.5 rem will be okay for this heading, and the font weight of bold of course because it's the hero text with the color of white, and the text overflow should be inherit, means it will wrap around itself if the screen size is too much small. So let's save it, and here I have this hero text. It's time to make this text to look like an outline text. I will not style this inside hero.css, because if you look at the deployed version, we are using this type of text many times, here, and it's also here. Similarly, it's everywhere. So I will not style the same thing again and again. Instead of doing this, I will go to the app.css here, and I am making a class with the name stroke text. So stroke text, and I will make its color as transparent with the font family of Arial. So yeah, just like this one. And then make the WebKit text stroke. So WebKit text and stroke width, yeah, it's around 1 pixel to specify the width of our outline. And then similarly just copy this, paste it here, and here write the color and give it a color of white. Let's save this, and inside the hero.jsx I am giving a class name of stroke text like this. Let's save this and have a look. Here I have the outline text. So whenever I need such styling of text, I simply paste the class name stroke text and it will make this form. Let's further move on. After this, I again have a div which will contain a span inside it, and then similarly just paste the text and have a look. Okay, it's too much horrible because all the text is bold and the font size is too much large. So I am going to the hero.css and here write hero text. Inside the hero text I have the divs and then the nth of type third. Why I am doing something like this? Because if you have a look here inside the hero text, I have three divs. The first one ending here, the second one ending here, and the third one which is ending here. Okay, so there is a mistake by me. It should not be like this. There should be a span, and inside that span the text should lie. Let's format again. Okay, so this is the third div, which is the required div to target inside the hero.css. And for this I am giving a font size of 1 rem with the font weight of normal, or you can say the 200, with the text transform. So text transform none, with the letter spacing of 1 pixels only, and the width of this div will be the 80% of our total left side. Let's save this and have a look, because here I have written the font style instead of font size. Now let's try again, and yeah, it's looking nice now. And now let's move on. It's time to make these figures. So to make these figures, I am just closing this hero text div. So press Ctrl Shift P and go to the matching pair. It is ending here. After this, I will say it as figures, or you can simply say the experience figures. Make a div with the class name figures, let's say, and this will contain 3 more divs inside it. Okay, so I have made it. Each div again have the 2 spans inside it, because if you have a look, in the first span we will have the number, and inside the second span we will have the heading of the number. Write the text. So our first text is around 140 plus, so here I am writing 140 plus with the expert coaches. So here I have written all these figures. It's time to style them. Again I will go to the hero.css and here target the figures div and make it as display flex with the gap of 2 rem. Now I am targeting each div inside the figures by writing like this, and again make them display flex with the flex direction of column, because we know that here these are in the vertical direction, not in the horizontal direction. Okay, now I am going to target this span. So to target this span, what I will do, I will say figures have a div and then div have a span. So the spans are 2 inside the div, so therefore I am just targeting the first one. and then make the color white with the font size of 2 rem again. So yeah, let's save this and have a look. Here I have these numbers styled correctly. It's time to style the second spans. So just simply copy this, paste it here, and of course I have to change both of these properties. The first one will have a color of gray like this, and the second the text transform of none. Let's save this. There should be 2, so these text should be in the capital, so instead of none here I should write the uppercase. Let's save this, and this is the left side almost completed. It's time to make the 2 buttons after these figures div, as we have here get started and learn more. So after these figures div, it's ending here by finding Ctrl Shift P. Okay, so here I am making the hero buttons like this, and for this I will make a div with the class name of hero buttons, and inside this I will make 2 buttons, and each button will have a class name of button. Let's multiply them by 2, and now first button will say get started and the second button will say learn more. Okay, so now it's time to style them. As we noted, we will use buttons too much inside our application, so I am going to make a general class inside app.css. I mean a general class styling. So I will declare it as .btn. So button will have a background color of white and the padding of 0.5 rem like this, the font weight of bold, and the border of, let's say, 4 pixels solid, and the color is transparent. The transition is 300 ms for all. I am making transition because I have to make a hover effect for each button, and for each button on hovering the cursor will be like the pointer. So let's save this, and also we have to save the hero. Okay, let's see the results. So here I have the 2 buttons. It's time to style this hero buttons class specific for the hero section. So inside the hero.css, here I will make the hero buttons like this. It will have display flex and a gap of 1 rem with the font weight of normal, and then the hero buttons have a child. I am first targeting the first button inside the hero buttons div, giving it a color of white with the background color of orange. So yeah, like this, and then the width of this button will be 8 rem. Now I have to target the second button, so I am just copying this and pasting this, and here I should write the 2. It's time to change the background color. So here I am writing background color is transparent for the second color with the width 8 rem. It's okay, and the border should be 2 pixels solid, and the color of border is orange. Now let's save this and have a look. Okay, now both the buttons are looking very fine, but the only problem is the text is not aligned inside the button. So let's see why. If I go to the .btn, here I will make it as display flex with the line item center and justify content center. Let's save it, and now the text is also aligned. It's time to complete the right side. If I go to redeployed version, here you can see there are many PNGs in the right side of section, so means we have to use a lot of images. So first of all, I will import all the images inside the hero section directly. So these are the all images required for making the right size. These all images are available inside the assets folder we have made in our starter directory. Okay, let's start the right side. So I'm just deleting this text right side. First of all, make a button, and the button is saying join now. Of course, I have to give it a class name of button. So class name button, so it can achieve all the stylings. I have to make a div for telling the heart rate. Therefore, I am making a div with the class name of heart rate. Inside this, first of all, I will use an image. The source of image will be heart, as I have already imported from the assets folder. Then it will have two spans, so I am multiplying spans by 2. In the first span it will say heart rate, and in the second span it will say BPM. So BPM, yeah, something like this, and the amount of BPM is 116. So this is our heart rate div, and this is our join now button. Let's first style the join now button position, and then all the positioning and styling for the heart rate div. So what I will do, simply go to the hero.css, and here I will say there is a button inside the right side. The button should have the position of absolute. The right should be 3 rem with the top distance of 2 rem and the text color of black. Let's save it. Okay, so to use the position absolute, I have to make the right side first of all as a position relative. So where is the, yeah, there is the right side. I am making it as position relative and the background color of orange. So yeah, like this. Now let's save. Still the button is not in its correct position. Let's see why that's happening. Okay, so here I am okay, because there I should specify the class name by dot. Now the position of button is correct. Let's style the heart rate div. Let's make it as display flex with the flex direction of column and a gap between the items 1 rem. The background color I am giving it a dark gray. You can just simply write them as we have variables in the app.css. The width is fit content, so it will be responsive for each screen. The padding of 1 rem and the align item start, I think so. Now let's have a look. It's already in a very well mannered form. Let's further style it by the border radius and the flex alignments. So let's make it as border radius of 5 pixels, and then the position absolutely, it's absolute. The right is 4 rem distance, and from the top it has 7 rem distance. So now it's in correct position. Let's target these spans inside the heart rate. I will target the heart rate, have a span, target the first type of span inside the heart rate, or you can just simply say target the child. Okay, so I can also make it as nth child too, because the span is the second child. Here you can see that this span is the second child, so I am just targeting it, and let's say it as color of gray, and then target the third child, means the second span. So here I will write the 3, and I am giving it a color of white with the font size of 1.5 rem almost, like this. Let's save and have a look. Also I have to save this. So yeah, the styling is applied very beautifully. It's time, I think so, that the PNG should be a little bit more smaller. So here I will say dot heart rate, have an image inside it, make its width only 2 rem. Okay, now all the way is correct. It's time to make the hero images of our hero section. So here I have imported two hero images with the class name hero image and hero image back. It's time to style them. So inside the hero.css, I am targeting the hero image and giving it a position of absolute with the right distance 8 rem and a top distance of 10 rem. Then I am giving it a width of 23 rem. Let's save this and have a look. Okay, so our hero image is in its correct position. It's time to style this hero back image. For this, I am targeting the hero image back class with the position absolute, top distance 4 rem, right 20 rem, and a z index of -1, because I want this PNG always behind this hero image, which is the main image. So yeah, and I also should specify the width for it. Now let's save and have a look. Okay, how cool this is looking. It's time to make our last div, which is the calories div. As we see in the developed version, here we have a calorie div. So for this, I will again go to the hero.jsx, and here I am making the calories, and then inside this div, first of all, it will have a class name of calories, and it will have some image. First of all, the image is already imported on the top with the name calories, and then again it will have two spans. So I'm multiplying them by 2. In first span, calories burned like this, and the second span will say the amount 220 kilocalories. Let's save, and here is the calories div. Let's style this div. So after this hero image back, here I am targeting the calories div, giving it a display flex, and the gap between the items should be 2 rem, means the distance between the image and these spans should be 2 rem. Okay, I should make a separate div for these spans, and I am moving them inside them. Okay, so now you can have a look. The image and this writing will have a gap of 2 rem in a horizontal direction, and then the background color of calorie card with the border radius of 5 pixels. Let's save this and have a look. So okay, yeah, now it have the correct gap between the image and the spans, but it needs some more space, some more styling with respect to the positioning. So I will first make a padding of 1 rem, and the width is fit content, that it should only contain the width of equal to the content inside it. Position absolute, top 32 rem and the right 28 rem distance. Now let's save and have a look. It's in the correct position, but spans and this image still needs some styling. First of all, let's decrease the width of this image. So I am targeting the image inside the calories, giving it a width of 3 rem, and yeah, this is all the way correct. Then there is a div inside the calories which is containing these spans, making display flex direction column. Of course, as you probably assume already, we need the direction of this flex in column, and the justify content space between those spans will be spread on the top and the bottom of the parent div. Now let's save and have a look. Yeah, it's time to change the colors and the font size of these spans. So first of all, I am targeting the first span inside the div. So how this is targeting? If we hover this expression, then it is saying us there is an element with the named calories, then there is a div inside it which is containing the first child. So this is very simple, and the color I am giving it a gray. Now I am targeting the second child and giving it a color of white with a font size of 1.5 rem. Let's save this and have a final look. So yeah, how cool our hero section is looking. So the static part of our hero section is now completed. We will add the animations and interactions with the components of this section in the latter part. Let's move on to the program section. As you see in the developed version, here we have these program section. Let's make it. Let's close all the extra files here. Okay, now inside the components folder, make a folder with the name programs and make programs.jsx and programs.css. So here I have both the files. Inside the JSX, write RAFCE and import its CSS. So import from the same directory programs.css. Let's save it and save it also. Now in the next step, I have to import this inside the app.js. So below this hero component, write programs, auto import it. Let's save it. So here I have the programs heading, means it's correctly imported. Now let's remove this pre-text of div programs and make our div with the class name of programs and an ID of programs. Okay. Now first of all, we want to make the header for this section. So make an other div with the name programs header like this. Inside this, I am making 3 spans. So span multiply by 3. In the first span, I will say explore our, have a look. So here I have this heading, explore our programs to shape you. It's time to style it. So first I am targeting the most parent programs class, this one, and making it as display flex with the flex direction of column, and the gap between the items is 2 rem with the padding of 0 and 2 rem from the both sides. Let's save it. Okay, so it has correct padding now. Now I am targeting the header div, this one, and I am making it as display flex, and the gap between the items will be 5 rem. The font weight will be the bold with the font size of 3 rem, and the justify content at the center means it will be vertically at the center. Now the color will be white. The text will be transformed all to the uppercase. and with the font style of italic. So now let's have a look. This is our final styling, but we want this stroke effect as we have in a pre-built version. So to make this effect here, what I will simply do, I am just making these two spans with the class name of stroke text. Let's save it and now see the magic. It's all converted to our desired form. Now it's time to make these cards for the programs. So on the top, first of all, I am importing all the data required to make these programs cards. So here I will say, if we have a look what we have inside the programs data, then I am going to the data folder and here I have this file. So basically, okay, let me make the text bigger. So actually the programs data is an array of objects. So this is the first object, and in the object I have a key value of image, a heading and the details. So image is basically the SVG, the heading is our program's heading, and details is the description of our program explanation. So similarly, it's just like the other objects here. This is the second one, this is the third one and the fourth one, as we have four programs. So I am going to use this array. Here I am making a div with the name program categories, and inside this div I will iterate through the programs data. I will say programs.data.map, and then for each program I am returning some JSX. So I will return a div with the name category like this, and inside this div, first of all, I will have an image here coming from the program. So program.image, and then there will be two spans. So spans multiply by 2. In the first I will have program.heading, and then similarly I will have the second one. So I'm just copy and pasting it here, and the name is details as we have inside our programs data file. Okay, so now let's save this and have a look if it's working or not. Okay, so this is our first error that cannot resolve this directory. So let's see why that's happening. If I just remove this, okay, so now it's working. It's just because of one space, and here we have all the data without any styling. But before styling, let's first just complete the body. So okay, basically after these two spans here, I will have a div which will say join now. It will just like a kind of button, and inside this I will have a span which is saying join now, and then I will use an image by the image tag, and the source is going to be the right arrow. So I have to import this image from the assets folder. So here I am writing import right arrow from the assets. I will go outside assets and the right arrow dot png. Let's save this, and here I have these pngs. Now let's style these categories. Just copy the name of class from here to avoid any type of typo. First of all, make it as display flex with the gap of 1 rem. So now you can see they are in a horizontal direction with the 1 rem gap, and then I will target the each category separately. So for each category, display flex and the flex direction of column, because as you know that here in the developed version we have these in the vertical direction, all the content alignment. Okay, and then after this, make the background color as gray, and the padding will be 2 rem is enough with the gap of 1 rem between the content. The color of text should be white, and justify content is space between, so they will be spread out around the corners of the div. Let's save and have a look. Okay, this is our developed version. Keep it on this side, and now we have these programs card. Let's style the inner content separately. So first of all, let's target these SVGs. What I will say here, I will say inside the categories target the first child. So I will say nth child 1, because the first child is the image. Therefore I am making the width 2 rem with the height of 2 rem, and as this is an SVG, so I can fill it with the white color. So here you can see that now the SVGs are in the correct form. Now let's target the other span. So I'm just simply copying them and here paste them. Now it's the second child, so remove the one, and instead of all these things here I will simply say the font size is going to be the 1 rem with the font weight of bold. So here you have these headings, and now target the third span, which is the details. So just copy and paste and here make it at third. Let's remove them one by one and make the new styling of font size 0.9 rem and the line height of almost, I think so that 25 pixels will be enough. So yeah, how beautiful it's looking. Let's also style these two things. So I am here simply targeting the join now class as we have given in the body, and giving display flex with the line item center and a gap of 2 rem. I also want to make this image a little bit smaller, so I am just saying join now have an image. Let's make the width 1 rem. Save it, and our programs cards are completed now. I also want to add the hover effect for these programs cards, so I'm going to program.cs and here I'll say dot category on hover this, make the background as our variable, which is the plain card, and also make cursor like pointer. Let's save and have a look. So yeah, the hover effect is added successfully. Now let's make this section of our gym website, which is the reasons. So what I'm just clearing all these extra files for now and make a new folder, doing again and again inside the components, make a folder with the name reasons and make the two files inside it. Here I have both the files RAFCE and then imported CSS by writing reasons.css, yeah, like this. Now let's save this and add it into our app.js by reasons, yeah, let's save it and have a look. Okay, so this is the reasons, means it's imported successfully. Now let's build it. So first of all, inside reasons.jx, clear this section and make div.reasons. I also like to give it an ID with the same name of reasons. So yeah, like the reasons. And then I am adding some images from the assets folder that we are going to use during the reasons section, because here we have these images, as you know, 4 images and these ticks SVGs and these partners images. So yeah, let's make it. It's a lot of stuff to do here. First of all, I am dividing it again in a left and right side. So left are in the left of reasons, and similarly the right are the right side of reasons. So let's start by work from the right side, and inside right side simply I am making the 4 images, okay, and then let's format the code. Now I am making the src, means the source for each image, and it is simply image. For the first image it's going to the 1, and here we have these 4 images. Now it's time to align these images as we have here in the built version. It's done by using the grid in the CSS. So what I am going to do here, first of all, inside the reasons.css, I am targeting the parent reasons div and making it the padding of 0 and from both sides 2 rem. Then okay, then the display flex and the gap of 2 rem. So okay, everything is in its horizontal direction till yet. This is because I have not given any content to the right side. Let's simply say it as right side. And then there is a very important step to do. For the left of reasons, I am making it as flex 1, means it will take an equal space, and similarly I will do for the right side. So right of R again have a flex of 1. Yeah, we can clearly see a change that now both sides are divided in the equal width, the left and the right side. Okay, start our work in the right side. I will make it as display grid, and also the grid template columns I will say repeat 3 times the grid with the 1 FR, means equal frame, 3 equal frames. So why I am doing this? Basically in the pre-built version here you can see I am dividing it like, okay, let's inspect it to make it more clear for you guys. I am inspecting this one, this is the grid. Okay, so now you can see that there are the three parts of the grid. This is the first, the second and the third one. So the same thing I am saying here, make the three equal parts. And then what to do, give the gap of 1 rem between these parts and the grid auto row. So I will say and make it 1 fr. So what it will do, it will make the height of each row equal if we specify the grid auto rows as fr. So now if I have a look here, okay, there is nothing too much change because the width of images is very high. Let's try to adjust them. First of all, inside the left R, I simply have the images. For each images, make the object fit as cover. So by changing the width, it will not flatten or vertically magnify the image. It will crop the image according to the width of the image. So yeah, then I will say for the left R and then the nth child 1 means I am targeting the first image, make the width 12 rem. Okay, 12 rem. And grid row I am specifying from 1 to 3 with the height of 28 rem. Let's save, and here you have, it's having the height of 28 rem. And how much rows it's taking, it is taking the 2 rows from the first one. Here is the second one and then the third one. Okay, let's also inspect this section. So you can see it is taking all the rows, but there is no available grid option to actually see the grid because the width of images are too much out of alignment. So yeah, let's first fix them. Now I am targeting the second image, so just simply copy this one and I am pasting it here. Then say the second image and just remove all these things, just make the width as auto for this one and also the height of 16 rem. Now it's also in the correct direction and in the correct flow. Similarly, giving it a width of 14 rem only, and then I am targeting the fourth image. Similarly, yeah, this is the fourth one, and then I will give it some width of 10 rem. So let's have a look. Here we have the images in a correct width but still not in a correct alignment. So now if I inspect them, yeah, now I have this grid option available, and you can see that our first image is taking all the grids, mean all the grid rows, and our second image should be now take the 2 columns from 2 to 4. So to take these 2 columns, I will go to the second child here and then I will say the grid column. So grid column from 2 to 4. Let's save this, and yeah, it is taking the exact 2 columns. If we have a look, these images are already in a correct alignment, but still to ensure the alignment, I will say this image should take the column 2 to 3. So here I will say grid column from 2 to 3, and similarly for the fourth one I will say the grid row. Okay, so it should take the second row and the grid column of 3 to 4 means the last column. Similarly, I should also specify the grid row here. So grid row 2, let's save. Okay, it's time to make the right side. So on the right side, just remove this text, and here I want a span which is saying some reasons, means the some reasons to choose us. And after this I want a div which is containing 2 spans. So for the first span I will write y, and for the second span similarly I will say choose us, and also question mark. Let's format the code. And as I have already mentioned you, to make any text as the stroke text, I will give it a class of stroke text just simply by this. And now let's style the right side. First of all, give it a text transform of uppercase like this with the gap of 1 rem, but to use the gap of 1 rem I have to make it as display flex and a flex direction of column. Let's save and have a look. This is the, but I also want to give some gap between the left and right side. So the problem was I was using the emit and it makes a wrong emit, so there should be a gap, not the grid template. And yeah, now it's working fine. Also I want to give an height for the fourth image and it is 11.2 rem. Let's save it. Okay, now let's go to right side again and I will say the right side have a span inside it. Make the font weight bold for this span and the color is our orange color because it's just saying some reasons this text. After this I will say the right side is containing a div directly with the color should be white, means the text color white, and the font size for this should be 3 rem. It's a relatively large size of font and the font weight of bold. Yeah, so there is some reasons and why choosers. We should also give some distance between y and choosers, so I can simply put a space here and it will do our work. Otherwise we have to make a display flex with a gap of 1 rem and a lot of more things. Okay, then I have to make some reasons. Here I am making a div with an other div inside it. Basically this div will again have an image and a span inside it, and I will say just multiply all of these things 4 times. So now if I format the code, okay, so basically this div should close all of these divs and then format the code. So if I give it a class name of details like this, R means of the right side and find its closing tag, so it's just like here, and this is the right side and this is of reasons. Okay, everything works fine. Now give some data. So for each image I am giving a source, so just remove these quotation marks and here I will say simply the tick. Now let's save and I have 4 ticks here for the first span. Now I will write some text for each of its span. So I have written all the text. Now it's time to style this div, the details right side. So here I am targeting the details with the right side and of course made it display flex with the flex direction of column and a gap of 1 rem between each detail. So yeah, the text size is too much huge, so I have to decrease it. The details R is containing a div and for that div make the display as flex. Basically I am calling all these divs. Okay, as you can see, this is div, this is an other div. I am calling all these divs by targeting them as details have a div. And then the font size inside each div will be only 1 rem with the gap of 1 rem between the tick and the text. Now I will target the image of tick, so I will say details are have a div which have an image inside it, so just make its width as 2 rem and height also as 2 rem. Okay, everything is fine. Now let's make some partners for our reasons. So after this, here I will make a span and inside this span I will say our partners, yeah, like this. And now let's style it just here. So I am saying its styling is something like color of our variable which is gray. Okay, everything inside a quotation mark and then a font weight of course normal because it's not a huge tag. Let's format the code. Let's have a look. Okay, this is our partners. Now I also have include some images for the partners. So after this span I am making a div with a class name of partners and in this I will have some images, so multiply them by 3. Let's format the code and remove these quotation marks. Let's save it and have a look. So these are our brand partner. Okay, it's time to style these partners. So after this I am targeting the partners like this and make them display flex with the gap of 1 rem. and then I'm targeting the images. Inside the partners, I will say the partners have images, make the width of each image as 2.5 rem. Let's save it. Okay, so our reasons section is completed. Now it's time to make the next section, which is the most demandable section, and it is common in every website, at least in every business website, which is the plans card, the basic plan, premium plan, pro plan. So let's start this. So just close this reasons.jsx and reasons.css, and again inside the component folder I am going to make a folder with the name plans, and let's make the JSX and CSS. So inside the plans.jsx I am writing RAFCE and import its CSS file here by plans.css like this. Now include this inside the app.js by writing plans like this. Now let's save it and see if it is imported or not. So yeah, here is the plans. So if I look at the developed version, first of all here I have a header of plans. So let's make it. Okay, instead of this, first of all I will make a parent div with the name plans container, and then let make the headers. So again I will use the header of program section, so programs header, and inside this I will make 3 spans as I always did. Let's format the code and write the text inside it. So here is the heading of our header. Now if I look here, okay, so I should change the spacing between these headers. So what I will do here, I will make a different styling for this section. I will say the gap should be only 2 rem like this. Now let's save. Okay, now it's in a correct positioning. So let's make the 2 spans as a stroke span. So like this, give it a class name of stroke text. Let's save it, and yeah, our header is completed for the plans section. Now let's make the plans card. So out of this plans header here I will writing the plans card, and then after this make a div with the class name of plans, and I am going to use some data from our data folder. Let's first import it and then I will explain about that data. So what I have inside the plans data, if I go to the data directory here in this plans data, I again have an array of objects. So each object is containing an icon SVG, the name of the plan, the price of the plan, and the features included in that plan. Again, the feature key value is an array of strings. An array contains the object, and then each object contains its on array, the array of features. So I have here 3 objects, the first one and the second one, and similarly here I have the third one. Okay, now I think you have understand it. Let's use this data here. I will say plans data dot map, and then for each plan I am going to return some JSX. Okay, let's also use the index for the unique key value of each div. I will say div will have a key value of plan, and inside each div let's first render the image or the icon of that plan. So I will use the plan dot icon and then make a span. Okay, let's make only 2 spans, and then in the first span write plan dot name, and of course in the second, as you have predicted, it will be the price of our plan. So simply the price. Let's format the code. Also I want to give here a dollar sign to represent it's the price. Now let's give each plan a unique key. So here I will say the key is equal to the I that is included in the parameters, and after these spans I have to render the features. So make a div with the name features. Inside the features I will say plan dot features dot map, and then for each feature again I will use the index number and return the JSX. Let's make a div with the name features. So each div will represent the single feature, and inside this single feature, first of all, render the image. Okay, I have to import a tick from the assets folder like this, and then I am going to use this white tick here. Let's say white tick. Okay, after this rendering white tick, I am again making a span and giving the span a key value of I, so it will not raise a warning in the console, and use the feature as the detail of the feature. As simple as that. Let's save and have a look what we have got here. Okay, so this is our first card data, this is our second card data, and similarly this is our third card data. All of things are available, the images, the pricing, the heading. We only need to style it now. But before styling, as we see in the developed version here, we also want to render this text of see more benefits and this button of join now. So let's make it now. After this features div, I am again making a div, and inside this div I am making a span, and this span is saying see more benefits, and I am also included a right tick just like this. Let's format it and then make a button with the class name of course button, as we are using from the start, and this button is saying join now. So let's save and have a look. Okay, so all the course data is completely available now. Now let's style it. Here inside the plans.css, first of all target the most parent class planes container, and set plans give a margin top of -4 rem. Okay, and the padding of our theme that we are using 0 and 2 rem. Let's format it so we can see it properly, and the display flex with the flex direction of column, because I want the header of our plans container and all the plans in a vertical direction. As you can see in the developed version, here you can see that this is the header, and below this here lies all our plans cards, so they are in a vertical direction. Therefore I am making it flex direction column. Give a gap of 4 rem with the position relative, so now it will just have a distance between the header and the. Let's target our plans div. So here this is our plans div, and I am making it display flex, so our cards will be in the horizontal direction as we want. Align item center, justify content with the gap between the cards 3 rem. So yeah, they are in a perfect alignment. Let's target each plan card separately. First of all, make it display flex, and as you predict rightly, we want flex direction column here with the background of calorie card as we have in our app.css, with the text color of white and a gap of 2 rem. Let's see. Okay, so I also want some padding, and the width should be defined for each card. So padding of 1.5 rem and a width of 15 rem. Let's see now. Yeah, they are looking pretty nice now. But if you notice in the developed version, our center card is a little bit larger than the other two cards. So how I have made this, and also the color of our middle card is different from the other two cards. So if I make a general styling for the plan div, then it will not work for the center card. So how I am going to target only center card, I will say target the second child of type plan, and then make it background color of plan card and transform it about 1.1%. So now it will be a larger and have a nice orange background. So yeah, here you can see it is little bit larger and having a background color of orange shade. Let's move on and target the images of each plan card, and I am making the color orange of each SVG, the width and height of 2 rem, a very simple stuff. So here you can see they are having a nice orange color. Now make this text size a little bit larger, so I am targeting the second child of type plan, and then making it font size of 1 rem with the font weight of bold, and here you have the font size of 1 rem with the bold font weight. Now target the third child, means this pricing tags. So for these pricing tags I am using the font size of 3 rem and a font weight of bold. After this I am targeting the fifth child here, which is this span of see more benefits with this tick. So For this, as you know that this is our fifth child, as this is first, second, third, the fourth one, and this is the fifth one. So yeah, here I am making it a font size of only 0.8 rem, and yeah, it's a quite smaller text now. Let's fix the features div. So I am targeting here all the features, making them display flagged with the direction of column, because I want all the features vertically aligned with the gap of 1 rem. So here we go. They are aligned in a perfect flex box now. Now let's target each feature individually, display flex, the item center and the gap of 1 rem. After this, I am targeting the image inside the feature and making its width 1 rem only. This is basically the tick image inside the feature. So let's save and have a look. Now this has the 1 rem width, but there is a problem. This image of our central card should not be filled with the orange color. It should be white. As you see in the developed version, this is white, and also the color of the central button is not black. As you see, it's orange now. So let's target these things. First of all, target the second child of the plans div, means the central card, and then target its SVG and make it fill white. And then I am similarly targeting the button inside the central card and making its text color as orange. So now let's save, and yeah, our plans cards are now completed. How beautifully we have made them and how easy they are. Let's move on our next section, which is the testimonial section. It is very important one. Just close the plans.jsx and plans.css. Now again, inside the component folder, I am making another folder with the name testimonials like this, and inside this make a JSX and a CSS. So here I have both the files. In the JSX, write RAFC and import its CSS like this. Now let's remove this and make div.testimonials, and then here inside this div, I am again dividing it into the left of testimonials and similarly the right of testimonials. Why I am dividing this? Because if we look at the developed version, here you can see on the left side I have these headings of what they say about us and the review and the name of the reviewer, and on the right side I have the images and these arrow images. So therefore I am dividing it into the left hand side and the right hand side. Okay, so let's first complete the left side of our testimonials. Here I am making first of all 3 spans, and inside the first span let's write testimonials and let's format the code in the second one, and then in the third one. So I want to make the second one as a stroke text, so I will say the class name will be stroke text. Let's save and have a look. Okay, so it's not imported because we have not added in the app.js. Here I will write testimonials. Let's add it. Now let's have a look. Okay, so these are the headings of our testimonials. Let's first style them. So inside testimonials.css, I am targeting the most parent class and making it as this display flex with the gap of 1 rem and padding of again 0 and 2 rem. Let's save. Okay, now it's have a correct padding. Target the left side of testimonials, so left of t with the display flex and the flex of 1 and 1. So I will equally divide both the side with the gap of 2 rem and the flex direction of column, because I want all the headings in the column direction, and the text transform of course the uppercase because it all belongs to the headings, and the color of white. Now let's see. Yeah, they are in a column direction with the gap of 2 rem. It's time to target the first span, so I will say left t is containing the nth child. Let's target the first child with the color of orange like this, and then the font weight should be bold, and similarly I will target the second and third child. So just copy this and I am pasting it here, make it as 2, and let's target the third one with this. So for both of these spans I am making font weight bold and the font size of 3 rem. Let's save it, and here we have the headings. It's time to make the reviews, but if we look at the developed version, the reviews are connected with the images and the name of the reviewer, because when we click on the next button, all of these three things are changing. So how I am going to handle this? In the data folder here, if we go to the directory, okay, let's close this assets one. In the data folder, I have these testimonials data, and what this contain, it only contains the 3 images and an array of 3 testimonials. Basically, these are the objects with the image of our reviewer and the review detail with the name and the status of our reviewer. So I will import all of this data in my testimonials.jsx by writing. Now after this third span, I am making another span inside this. I will say the testimonials data that I have imported from the testimonials data.js. For this array, I will use the index 0, and then I will say the review, because I have the review key element in the data. Here you can see. So for testing, I am just selecting the first review. Let's save and have a look. So here it is imported. Our review means our testimonials data.js is working fine. Now let's add some logic. I will use the use state hook of the React. So I will say const selected and then set selected. Selected is basically the index of our current active review, and the use state hook from the React, and by default it will select the first review from the data. Now let's calculate the length of our review. So I will say testimonials length is equal to testimonials data dot length. Now here, instead of this 0, I will say selected. Let's save it and let's see if our app is crashed or not. No, it's working quite good. After this review span, I am making another span, and inside this span, let's make a span for the name of our reviewer. So here I will say testimonials data and then target the selected index and call the name, and after this make a separation sign like this, then the testimonials data and select the selected index dot status. So now let's save this and have look. Okay, so this is the name and this is the status of our current reviewer. And if I also add a space here by like this, so now it will be more clear. Okay, let's style this name here instead of going to CSS, because it's too much for such a small thing go to the CSS side separately. So here I will say make its color as variable, which is the orange one, and make all of this thing inside the quotation marks. Now let's style this review. So okay, I am just simply going here and targeting the 4th child. So here like this and make it 4 instead of 3. Make the text transform as none, because I don't want all of it in uppercase with the text align in the justifier. So it will have the equal width from both sides with the letter spacing of 2 pixels and the line height of 40 pixels. By the way, you can also change as it suits for you. So yeah, now it's working very fine, but it's taking the whole width because I have no content in the right side of the testimonials, and also I have not declared the flex one for the right side. So first of all, for the right side of testimonials, make the flex as 1 and position relative. So yeah, now you can see that it is taking the equal width from the left side. In the right side of our testimonials here, first of all, let's make an image because we want the image of our reviewer. And for the source, I will say testimonials data into the selected index and call the image of that person. So if I save here, and here I have the image, and I also want the arrows to move forward and backward in the testimonials. So here I am making a div and giving it a name of arrows, and inside this I am simply making two images of arrows. So first one will be the left arrow and similarly the second one will be the right arrow. Like this. Now let's import both of these arrows from the assets folder here. So here these two arrows are imported, and I also want to make this R smaller. Let's format the code and save all of this. And yeah, here I have both the arrows in both direction. Now let's style. I am targeting the image inside the right side and making it position absolute for the width of 17 rem will be enough for this, and height of 20 rem with the object fit cover, so it will crop the image automatically according to the width. And from right it will be 8 rem and from top it will be 2 rem. So okay, yeah, now if I save this, we have the correct width and height of our image. But if we have a look at our developed version, here I also have two more divs behind the image. This one is just the border div and this one is the filled with a gradient color. So how I am going to make this? In the JSX file, here just above the testimonial image, I will make two empty divs like this. Now I am going to target these divs here. I will say dot write t and then the nth child one, means the first empty div, make it position absolute, width of 17 rem and the height of 20 rem with the border of 2 pixels solid and the color of border should be orange. Now I am going to give it some background color of transparent because first div has no color. Then make the right distance 9 rem and the top distance of 0.9 rem. So here I have the div just behind the image, and now let's make a fill div. So copy this one and here make it as 2 like this. And for this div again the position absolute with the width of 17 rem and height of 19 rem. From top it will have a distance of 4 rem at the background color of our variable, which is the plan card. Let's save this. Okay, it has no color. So why it has no color? Because here I have to specify only background for a gradient color. And yeah, now it's here but still it's not in a correct position. Let's see why. So here if I specify its distance 7 rem from right side like this, now it is in also correct position. Let's correct the position of these arrows. So here I am targeting the arrows, make them first of all display flex with the gap of 1 rem, position absolute. From bottom they will have 1 rem and from left they will have 3 rem. So yeah, but I also have to specify the width for each image inside the arrows. So I will say arrows have image, for that image make the width of 1.5 rem and cursor like pointer on hovering them. So yeah, now we have the correct styling and the body of our testimonial, but it's not working on clicking these arrows. So it's time to make some logic. So inside the body I am going to the left arrow here and I will say on click. Okay, what it do on clicking it will fire a arrow function, and first of all it will check if selected is equal to the 0, then it will set the selected, which is a part of our use state, t length -1, and if it is not, then set select as first of all take the previous value and then the previous value -1. So let me explain to you guys what's actually happening here. As you know that this is the left arrow, so it always try to make our testimonials towards the backward direction, means it will always returns the previous testimonials. So therefore it is checking if we are already on the first testimonial, then it will return us the last testimonial on clicking the previous button. And if it is not this situation, means if we are not at the first testimonial, then it will take the previous value of the selected and then minus 1 from this value. Means if we are at the second testimonial, then it will convert it to the first testimonial. Now let's make the logic for the right arrow. Here I will say on click again fire a fat arrow function, check if the selected is already equal to the t length minus 1, means the last testimonial, then set selected as the first testimonial, and if it is not the case, take the previous value of our selected and previous plus 1. Okay, let me explain this also. As the right arrow always gives us the next testimonial, so if it is checking if we are already at the last testimonial, then it will return us the first testimonial. And if it is not the case, then it will change the selected state to the next state, means the plus 1 state. So let's save this and have a look of its functionality. Okay, so how cool it's working now. I know we are missing the animations as here we have in our developed version, but we will add the animation in the last section. Let's move on to this email section. Let's close both of these files of plans, and inside the components folder I am going to make a new folder with the name join. And inside the join I will make two files, join.jsx and similarly the join.c. Now inside the join.jsx write RAFCE and let's import its CSS here. So join.css, let's save it, and now I have to include it in app.js. So by auto import add the join component. Let's remove this pre-text and here make a div with the class name of join and the ID of JoinUs. So yeah, like this. I am going to divide this section into two parts as I am doing for most of the parts, the left of join section and then similarly the right of join section. So yeah, like this. Why I have divided this? If I look at the pre-built version, here you can see that I have the headings on the left side and this email input on the right side. So therefore I am dividing it into two parts. Okay, now first of all inside the left side I am making a div which will contain the two spans, and let's format it, and I am just copying this whole configuration of div and then paste it again, and inside the spans I will write some text. So yeah, here it is. Now have a look, our developed version, and this is our server. So yeah, here I have the headings. Now let's style them. So inside the CSS I will target the most parent join, make it as display flex with the padding of 0 and 2 rem, and the gap between the item in left and right side will be 10 rem. Now I am targeting the left side of join part and making the color of font first of all as white with the font size of 3 rem, which is relatively a large font, and the font weight of course bold, and text transform uppercase, of course it's a heading so it should be in capital cases with the position relative. So now let's format it, save it and have look. Okay, this is looking quite good. Now I have to give some spaces. So here give a space, here I am also giving a space, and make some text as a stroke text. So first and last span will act as a stroke text like this. Let's save it, and yeah, now it's looking quite good. But I also want an HR above the Redis text, because as you see here I have this orange HR in the pre-built version. So similarly I want this here. So what I will do here, I am making an HR and I am targeting it here. I will say the left side of join section have an HR position absolute with the width of 10.5 rem. I also want to give it a border of 2 pixels solid and giving it a color of variable orange. And yeah, after this I am also giving it a border radius of 20%. So here I have this line, but it's not in a correct position. I should give it a top margin some negative value. So here I am giving margin of -10 pixels and from both sides of 0. Now let's hope for the best result, and here it is. It's time to make the right side. So inside the right side here I am simply making a form, giving it a class of email container like this, and inside this form simply make an input. I am making this input of type email with the name of user email. I will give you the reason why I am giving here a name, but let's move on with the placeholder of enter your email address to join, or you can say whatever you want. Let's save it and have a look. So this is my email input. Now I also want a button to join. So here you can see that I have button. Let's make our text a little bit smaller. Okay, like this. So after this input under the form, I am making a button which will contain the text join now like this, and I am also giving some class name to the button. So of course the button which is our general styling, and the button of join which is specific for the join section. By the way, as you remember, here I have given spaces to give a distance between the words, but it will work for many cases, but sometimes it will not work when you want to give some large spaces. So what is the proper approach? Just remove these spaces that I have given here manually and implement these spaces inside the CSS. So let's save it here, and what I will say, on the left side of J I have some divs, make them display flex, and the gap should be 1 rem. Now you will see the result is same as you can see here. So okay, let's move on towards the right side. The right side of join section have a display flex with the justify content center and the align items at the flex end. So yeah, like this. And then the email container should be styled. I am making a display flex with the gap of 3 rem here and the background color of gray. So yeah, after this I also want to give it a padding of 1 rem. Okay, let's see here what happened now. So yeah, it's looking quite in the shape, but still a lot of work to do. I also want to give a padding of 2 rem. So yeah, now it's looking quite good, but there is a problem. As you notice here, the gray color is not applied to the background color of our input. It's still white. So I should make it transparent first of all. So I will say the email container containing an input, make the background color of that input as the transparent and border none like this, with the outline should also be none, so it will not be highlighted with the black color on entering the text, and the color of text inside should be the light gray color. So I have this color in my app.css. Let's save. When I am writing here, it is showing me a light gray color, but I also want to make the placeholder with the light gray color. So there is a very simple technique. Make 2 columns and write the placeholder, give it a color of again our variable which is the light gray one. So if we see, it's also in the light gray color. Let's specify the styling for our button. So button and J, make it the background color of our button as our variable orange, and then the color of text as white. So yeah, looking quite good now. But we also want to add a functionality that whenever someone enter here his or her address and press this join now button, then we should receive the email in response in our Gmail box. So how I am going to implement this? So for this, here on the top I am making a reference of our form. Const form is equal to use ref, and I have to include it from the React. Okay, like this. Now I am going to use this reference here instead of this section. I will say reference is equal to the form. So that from constant is targeting to our this whole form by reference. Okay, now I have to import a library class import email.js. So email.js from the @email.js browser. It is pre-installed when you start the starter pack. It's included in the package.json. So by simply writing the yarn, it will install itself. Okay, now it's time to use this. So I am going to the Google, and here I have simply written email.js in the search bar, and there comes the React. So here just simply copy this send email code. So I'm just simply copying it here and paste it just below this like this, and on our form I will say on submit call the handle send, or what is the name, send email. So send email like this. Now the control will go here. First of all, it will prevent to load the page to any other URL, and then it requires us some parameters, the user service ID, the template ID, and the user ID, from where we can get it. So this is the official website email.js. If you have already an account, then you can simply sign in, and if you have not, then you have to sign up. So I already have an account, so I am signing in. So such dashboard will appear in front of you with the no service at the start. So you can add a new service of Gmail, as I already have one, so I am not including it. And just simply copy this service ID from here. Okay, just copy it from here and paste this service ID here. Now I want the template ID, so again I will go to the templates, and you will have no template at start. Create a new one, as I already have made one, so I am going to use this. Okay, you can make any type of template to receive the emails, but there's one thing to notice, that the variable we are using here to represent the user email should be same as we have made here the name of our input type. So as you know that the name is user email, so same name we are using inside our template. So this is the only thing you always remember. Now go to the settings, and this is my template ID. So simply copy this and paste it here like this. Now I want user ID, so go to the account, and this is my user ID, means the public keys. So simply just also copy this and paste it here. Now save it and see if it's working or not. So if I hear something like john@gmail.com, join now, and now if I open my Gmail, so here I have the new email received from the Fit Club, and it is saying new Fit Club member joined, john@gmail.com, as we have made here in our template. As you know that here I have written new Fit Club member and user email, and the subject of email should be new message from Fit Club. So the similar template I have received in the email. So it's working fine, and I hope you really liked that part of our tutorial. So let's move on and close all these services. So our next section is this footer part that we have to develop here. For the footer, let's close this join.jsx and CSS, and inside the components, again I am going to make a component for the footer. So let's make it JSX and CSS. So here write RAFCE and import it CSS. Okay, let's close it from here. Okay, import from the same directory footer.css, and for the most parent div I am writing the footer container. So footer container. Okay, I am pasting some PNGs from the assets folder. So I am required GitHub, Instagram, LinkedIn, and the logo PNG that I am going to use to make the footer. So it will include an HR for the first, and then I'm making a div for the footer, and inside the footer I will make 3 images. So images multiply by 3, and let's give them the source one by one. Okay, so these are the 3 PNGs of GitHub, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Now I want to give the logo of our Fit Club. So div.logo, as I already have a logo class, so here I am writing logo of footer, and inside this make an image and make its src as logo like this. Let's save this and have a look, but before I have to include it in app.js. Write footer, let's save it, and these are the PNGs with the Fit Club logo. Now let's style it. So yeah, here let's open this. First of all, target the footer container and make it as position relative. Now I am targeting the HR inside the footer container, making its border as 1 pixel solid, and the color is light gray like this. Let's save it and have a look. There I have an HR of color white. Okay, now let's make the footer styling for these images. I am saying it should have a padding of 1 rem from top and bottom and 2 rem from left and right side. Then make it as display flex for all the icons in the row direction. But there I am noticing one thing, that we can do it in a more better way. That for these images, if I make a separate div which will say it as social links like this, and then inside this div I will contain all the images, and this div will contain everything included logo. And now if I make both of them in the column direction, so here I will say it column direction, so the png of our fit club logo and all these GitHub Instagram will be in vertical direction. So let's save, and you can say they are in vertical direction. Okay, then I am giving them the gap of 4 rem with the item center, content center, and a height of 20 rem. Okay, it's time to target these social links, means these GitHub, Instagram, etc. By the way, you can give the links for these GitHub, Instagram, LinkedIn very easily by using the link from the React router DOM. It's very easy stuff, you can easily do this. Okay, for the social links, making them display flex, so all the PNGs will be in horizontal direction with the gap of 4 rem. And then I will set the height and width for each image. So I am saying width 2 rem, height 2 rem, means a square image with the cursor as pointer. So here these are the images styled very perfectly. Now I have to target the logo PNG, and for this I am just giving it a width of 10 rem, and it will do all of our work. Yeah, so our static website is completed now without any type of interaction and without any type of animation. But there is a very one important thing that we are still missing in the designing, that are these beautiful blurs that we have in the background, this orange blur, and similarly I have here some blurs, and similarly 2 blurs in the footer. Let's start from the very first blur that exists in the hero section. So I am going to the app.css, and here I am making a new class with the name blur, as I have to use blur many times in my page. So therefore I am making a general styling for the blur first in the app.css, and then I will change the styling of each blur related to its section. So let's first of all make the background as like this with the position of absolute for each blur, and each blur will have a border radius of 50%, means each blur will be a circle. And then to produce a blur effect in these circles, I want to give them a filter, the filter of blur with the value of 212 pixels, and then giving them a z index of -9, so they will always behind every stuff on our page. Let's save this and make a blur inside my hero section. So I am going to the hero.jsx, and on the very top here before the left hand side even I am making a div and giving it a class name of blur. Now let's save this, and of course we have nothing for now as I have no width and height and no content inside it. So for the width and height is specific for each section, so therefore I will say blur of our hero section, and now make the blur h, and you can simply say it as for more general convention the hero blur. Okay, so now I will go to the hero.css, and here I am targeting the hero blur, giving it a width of 22 rem and a height of 30 rem with the left 0, means the distance from the left side will be 0 like this, and format the code. Okay, now let's save, and definitely now we will have a blur. So you can see this effect, how beautiful it's looking. But in the developed version here, this is the more bright color and it's too much faded. So I can control this value by going to the app.css, and instead of 212 I will write 150 pixels. Now let's save, and yeah, now it's also bright because the amount of blurriness is now reduced. Now let's move on to the more blurs that we have Here for the plan section, so here this is our development side and I have the plan section. So go to the plans.jsx and also plans.css, and on the very top above the header I am making two divs, and first of all give them a class name of blur and also the plans blur. I think so it will be the more conventional name. Okay, I also want to make this twice, so the first one will be the first blur and the second one will be the second. Let's save this, and inside here in our css side I am making the plans blur and one, so just handling the first blur first and making it a width of 23 rem with the height of 23 rem, and sorry, this is not 23, this is 32. After this the top of 6 rem with the left distance of 0 rem. So let's save, and here I have this beautiful blur. Let's style for the second blur. So just simply this copy class name, paste it here, make it 2 instead of 1, give it a width of 32 rem again and a height of 23 rem with the top distance of 10 rem and the right distance of 0 rem. So it will be on the right side as the other one was on the left side. So let's save, and here I have the second beautiful blur. Now make the blur for the footer section. So let's go to the footer.jsx here and footer.css, and after this footer div I am making a div with the name blur and also the blur of footer, and then multiply it by 2. Let's make some styling for this. So, and I also have to target them separately, so simply I can say it as 1 and this one as 2, and you can also target them by the child property in the css, but let for now make it from bottom it's 0 rem, from right 15%, and there are width of 26 rem. There are many ways to do a single thing in HTML CSS. So yeah, the filter I am going to change for this, and I am giving the blur value of 200 pixels with the background color of red like this. So there is nothing because I have not given here the first class name, and then there is a beautiful red blur, and similarly I am going to make the second blur by blur f and 2 like this. Let's save, and here I have these two beautiful blurs. So now our total styling is complete. It's time to add animations in our website as I have in the developed version. So if I refresh, you can also see this. Okay, so here you can see these numbers are counting up and these divs are moving. So let's first make these animations for all the page, then I will teach you how can we make these counting up numbers. First let's make the animation for this orange div behind this text. So here I am going to the hero.jsx, and this is that div. So first of all I have to import the motion class from the framer motion. So I will say import motion from the framer motion like this, and any div that we have to animate simply write it as motion.div and then make some animations. So first of all let's define the state of our transition. So here I make the transition as the type of transition should be always spring, and the duration of each transition should be only 3 like this. Okay, now I will use in my transitions for the divs that I have to animate. So first of all I will pass a prop initial, means initially when it renders where it should placed, and then I am saying it as from left 238 pixels like this, and then where it should animate when it comes into view. So for this I am also passing a prop while in view. I have to change the position of left distance, so make it towards 9 pixels, or yeah 8 pixels will be more. Okay, and then specify the transition state. So I am going to use the transition state that I have mentioned above like this. Now let's save and see if it's working or not. If I refresh it, and yeah it's working, but there is a problem that it is going a little bit off, so I can control it by changing the type of transition for this. So instead of writing this, I am closing it another bracket and spread this transition and change the type of transition. So I will say transition of type twin means the linear. So let's save, and now if I refresh this, so yeah, now it's very clear and smooth animation. So similarly, I am going to make animation for this heart rate. Let's see how I'm going to make this. This is my heart rate div. Make it as motion.div, and here I am giving it a transition type of transition that I have declared here with a duration of 3, and then I am giving it when it comes into view, make it the right distance of 4 rem, and initially it should be at -1 rem. So let's save, and here it's moving. So if I refresh, you can see how smoothly and perfectly it's working. Similarly, I will make transition for the calories burned. So here I have given the parameters of motion for this div, and I also have to make it as motion.div. Now let's save and have a look. It's also working, and similarly I am just giving the motion props for this background hero image. So where is background hero image? Here I am going to make it as motion.image, and here first of all initial, and initially it will be, let's save it and have a look how beautiful it's also working, and everything working perfectly. Now let's move on for the animations of our testimonials. That if I see at the developed version, when I change the testimonials, it's giving a very beautiful animation for this review and for the image, and also the previous and also the div behind the image also change their position. Let's scroll again. So if I go here, you can see they have changed their position. So to make similar type of effect, first of all I am just giving the similar animation that I have made for the hero section for the behind div. So for these divs I am going to the testimonials.jsx, and I am fast forwarding the video for the div behind the image. So here I have imported the motion from the framer motion and declared the transition state with the type spring, duration 3 seconds, and then these are the two divs behind the image. For the first div I have make its initial opacity 0, and on the x-axis it will be towards the -100, and then when it comes into the view, then it will have the opacity of 1, and on the x-axis it will be 0, means on its original position that we have declared in the CSS styling. So yeah, I have also changed the transition a little bit with the duration 2 seconds, and similarly for the second div, and it comes with a very beautiful effect. So yeah, here you can see that how beautifully they are working now. Now we should change the animations on changing the testimonials. So for this thing I am going to this image and make it as motion.image, make the word wrap on. Okay, so now for this image I will pass some props. First of all, it will have a key which will be equal to the selected that we have in our use state. Key will be used by our framer motion to detect whether the image should be animated or not, because every time the key is unique for each image as according to its index number that we have specified in the selected. A component is built with a unique key, then the animations will be applied on them. So this is basically a logic to give a key of selected. Now initially our image will have the opacity of 0, and on x-axis it will be 100, and then it will be animated towards the opacity of 1, and on the x-axis it will be towards its original position. And then when we change our testimonial, then the image should be exit from the view with the opacity of 0 again, and on the x-axis it will be -100. At the last I have to specify the transition for this. So simply just the transition is equal to the transition. Let's save it and have a look here how beautifully it's working now. On exit and on entrance it is showing some animations now. Similarly, I am going to apply animations on this span of our review. So inside the JSX, okay, so that was the span for the review. Make it as motion.span and include some animations for this like this. The logic is same here. There will be a key with the selected and initially it will have the opacity of 0 and then animate towards the 1, and on exit it will again have the 0 opacity. Let's save and try it. Okay, yeah, it's working correctly now. So our animation section is now completed, and the only stuff is remaining now is to make our website responsive for the mobile view. As if I currently look at the website for the mobile, so you can see that it's too much messy and not responsive for the mobiles. Let's make it. Here I am using a very common extension name as mobile view. You can install it from the extensions tab, and I am using the iPhone 8 theme of this extension. And yeah, let's first fix our hero section here. So I will go to the hero.css, and here I am writing at media screen, and now I will specify all the styling for the mobile view inside this query. First of all, I am targeting the main hero div, which is the basically our most parent class in the hero section, and making it in the flex direction of column. So as soon as I save this, now you see that our hero section is now in the vertical direction. After this, I will target this hero blur and make its width a little bit smaller, about 14 rem. So let's save it, and yeah, now it's doing quite good for the mobile screen. Then I am targeting this best add section on the mobile view. So I am giving it the margin top of 0 because there is a little bit more space between the logo of our Fit Club and the body. So I am just making margin top 0, font size small, align self center, so it will always be in the center of every mobile screen. And let's save it. So yeah, now it's looking quite good. I will make it a little bit smaller, so I am scaling down it to the 0.8% of its original size and save it. By the way, you can also check out this whole website in the demo link I will provide, and we will also deploy this website at the end of our tutorial. Now let's target this hero text. So yeah, if I scroll down here, this hero text, so for this hero text I will target it as like this and making its font size XXL large. Item center, content center, so always be in the center of mobile screen like this. How beautiful it's looking now. And then I am targeting the third div inside the hero text. So which will be the third div? Of course, this writing. So for this writing, I am making font size small with the font weight of 200, means normal. The letter spacing will be now 1 pixels and the items in the center. So yeah, now you can see it type of center justified for the mobile screen. And then let's target the these buttons for the mobile screen. So yeah, hero buttons, and making them content center. And then I am targeting these divs for the experience figures, and I am making their font size large, means now these numbers will have a large font size. And for these details of the experience, I am making their font size small. So let's save it. And yeah, how cool they are looking on the mobile screen now. So basically the left side of our hero section is completed for the mobile screen. It's time to target these PNGs, or you can say the right side of our hero image. So for the right side, first of all, I will make its position relative, and then I will make its background none, so that orange background will no more available for the mobile screen. Then I am targeting heart rate div, and for this I am making the left distance 1 rem and the top 2 rem. So let's save, and yeah, now it lies here. Then I am targeting the calories div that is not showing on the mobile screen because of the irrelative positioning. So here I am making its position relative and the top 5 rem, left 2 rem. So yeah, here this is available now. Let's also make the image inside this calorie div a little bit smaller. So I will say make the image with the width 2 rem. Now I am going to target this span, and for this span of course the color will be white, same, you can skip this. And the main thing, I am going to make its text size smaller, so let's save it. And yeah, it's good for the mobile screen. Now let's target our main task, which is the hero image. So for this I am targeting hero image. Make its position relative first of all, so it can hold up its place separately. So as you know, if I save it, so there it is, it's holding its own space in the mobile screen, it's not over any other content. Okay, now I am making its width 15 rem and some obvious positioning, align self center, so it will be center of the screen. And yeah, how cool it's looking now. Let's also target the background image that is not behaving well now for now. So I am targeting it as hero image back and making width 15 rem, and from the left it will have distance 2 rem, from top 0. Let's save it. And yeah, now it's static and our hero section is totally completed now. But there is still a problem that when I reload the page, then this origin div is too much out of its parent div. So what I will do, I will go to the hero.jsx, and on the top of this I am going to calculate the width of screen. Const mobile like this, and then we can calculate the width, window dot inner width like this. And then I will say if it is smaller than or equal to the 768 pixels, then it will be true, means then it is the mobile. And if it is not, then this is not a mobile screen, so mobile will contain the false value. Actually mobile is a boolean value. And now I am giving it the initial position according to the inner width of our window. So instead of simply writing this as 238 pixels, here I will say it will depend on mobile, and if it is mobile, then the left distance will be 178 pixels, and otherwise it will be same 238 pixels for the large screen. Now let's save, and in the mobile view, okay, it should be proper now. And yeah, now it's proper than before, it's not too much out of div, and you can simply just change this value around 65 and any value you want. I mean, you can simply just fix this. Here you can see that how cool it's looking now. Let's move on to the programs section for the mobile view. So here I am going to the programs.css and just simply copying this query. Okay, where is the query? That one was our query for the mobile screen, and paste it here like this. Here I am targeting the programs header. So yeah, this is the programs header. Make the flex direction column for the mobile screen, and the gap will be now 1 rem, a little bit smaller, and font size should also be smaller to just extra large. And then align item center with the justify content center, and the margin top will be smaller than before, means only 2 rem. Now as soon as I save that, here you can see our header is now in a perfect shape for the mobile screen. Now let's target these divs. So for this I will say the program categories will have flex direction column. It's just simply this, and when I save this, everything will be in its correct form. So yeah, this is the magic of responsive CSS. How cool it's looking. Now it's time to target this reasons section for our mobile view. So I will go to the reasons.css. So here I will again paste the query for the mobile view, and here I am targeting the most parent class reasons and making its direction column. So the left and right side will now be in the vertical direction. So if I save this, and yeah, there should be a little bit of difference now. Okay, yeah, here you can see that why chooses section is now in the vertical direction, and it's already fit for our screen. So this is the very cool thing, that it is automatically responsive for the mobile view. We have to only make responsive this grid section. So I am targeting the left side because it contains the grid section, and making the grid auto rows auto. So now the length of each row will not be equal. it will be automatically adjust according to the screen height and width. And then overflow should of course be hidden on the mobile, otherwise it will scroll horizontally. So if I save this, you can see that the extra section is now cutted, but this is not our predicted outcome. So I will target the first image in the left side and make it width and height like this. Now I will target the second image and I will change it width and height as well, and similarly for the third and the fourth one. So if I save this, and yeah, this is fit for the mobile screen and we can move on. So, and you can also change the width and height of these images as you want. There is no any type of restriction, but I just like this, so let's move on. So as you know that this section is already in a proper form, because here we were using the same class program header for the plan section also. We only have to style these plans cards. So I will go to the plans.css here and just copy the query of this one. So copy this and with the plans.css here at the end I am pasting the query. So here I will just simply target the plan section, make it as flex direction column and save it, and boom, everything is fine now. But this is not well for the mobile screen that the central div is maximized or scaled up. So I should remove its scale up transition. So plans contain the nth child, which is the second child in the central card, make it transform as none. Now let's save, and yeah, it also looking good for the mobile screen. Now let's change the testimonials, and here I am just simply pasting the query and I am targeting the most parent testimonials and making flex direction column. So the review and the image will be in vertical direction. Let's save it for now. Okay, so yeah, it's not working for this because in the testimonial section, okay, there was a capital T. If I make it small like this, now here you can see this. Okay, still it breaks because I think so that here we have used bigger T. If I make it smaller T as well, and yeah, now they are in a vertical direction. This is our review, what they say about us, and these are the images as they are the position absolute, so they are covering the other content. Okay, let's move on. Now I am targeting the second and third child. For further, let's target the right side of our testimonial, make display flex with the flex direction of column and the line item center, justify content center and the gap of 2 rem. So let's save it, and then I am targeting for the right side. There is a div inside this, and for that div made the position as relative with the display of none. So I am just removing the div with only border and the div which contained only the gradient. So I am just removing that two divs, and yeah, now I have only the image, so I can style it only. So I will say the right side contain an image, make the top 0, right 0 and position relative now, so it can contain its space and the line self center. Let's save it, and yeah, the only thing we have to did here. Now let's target the arrow images. So here I will say the right side contains a last child like this, and make it display block, means the native or default display with the bottom 0 and the left 0. Let's save it, and here these are. So yeah, our testimonial section is completed for the mobile screen. Now let's style this. So I will go to the join.css. Here I am copying the query, so the media query, and then make the most parent join class flex direction of column with the gap of 1 rem only. So yeah, I also have to change the text size. So the left size, also on the left side, the font size will be extra large and the flex direction of column for that side. So let's save, and yeah, how cool it's looking. And I should also change the padding So okay, basically here it will be column. So here I will say the right side of J with the padding of 2 rem. Let's save, and yeah, the footer is already in its correct form for the mobile screen, so responsiveness is completed now. But I want to make this header, which is not available on mobile screen for now. I will convert it on in a hamburger menu for the mobile screen, so you can navigate them. As if I open the developed version here and if I make it responsive, here you can see I have this hamburger menu and I can navigate to any place. By the way, I will add this auto scroll, but first let's make this hamburger menu. Let's simply go to the header.css here, and first of all I am making it responsive for the mobile view. So media screen and maximum width with the 768 pixels, and for this I am making the header with the nth child 2, and here I am making its position fixed. So our header will always be fixed on the mobile screen. It will not scroll up or scroll down. From right it will be 2 rem and its z index will be 99, so it will always above every content on the screen. And then I am targeting the header menu like this and making its flex direction in the column. So these items will be in a column direction with the background color of our variable, which is the app color, and the padding of 2 rem. Let's save this, and here this is our menu. Now I have to add the 3 bars icon, so I am going to the header.jsx here, and I am just copying this, paste it here and make it as bars, and then from here it also bars.png. And now I am calculating if it's mobile or not. So as I have did in the hero.jsx, just simply copy this and paste it here, so it will tell us if the screen is mobile and not. And then I am making a use state menu open and set menu open. So set menu open. By default the use state will have the false state, so menu will not be opened by default, and now it will return the JSX on the basis of this use state condition. After this logo image, here I am making a condition. I will say if the menu is not opened, means the menu open is equal to the false, and the mobile screen is equal to the true, means we are on the mobile screen and the menu is closed. So then return our div, and inside this div we will contain an image, and image is of course the image of bars we have imported like this. And if it is not the case, then in the else part return this unordered list. So Control X and Control V. Now format the code and let's save. So let's now make the mobile view on this side, and here I have the bars icon because by default our menu is false, so it is returning us the image of bars. Now I should style this. So for the image, here I am writing the inline styling, making its width about 1.5 rem and its height is also 1.5 rem like this. Let's save it, and here now it has a proper styling, and I will also give it a background color. So for this div I am making a styling, and the background color will be our variable, which is the app color like this. And then I will have some padding for this, and padding equal to 0.5 rem with the border radius of 5 pixels only. Let's format it and save the code, and here I have a very nice border, but I want when I click on this then the menu should be opened. So on the same div I will say on click execute a function and set the menu open as true. So now if I hit this bars icon, the menu is open, and then there should be a way to close this. So whenever I should click on any of the menu item, then the list should be closed. So I will go to each item here, and then for each of the list item I am saying on click execute a function, and in this function set the menu opened as false. So let's save it, and now if I click, you can see that it is opening and closing very smoothly. It's time to add the scroll effect, then that when we click on the testimonial section, it should scroll down towards the testimonials here, and similarly for all the other things. So for this reason, here after the bars I am importing the link, okay, link from the React scroll library. And what it will do, okay, so here I have the list item. Inside the list item I will make the link opening and then close it, and this home text should be under this link like this. Okay, let's test this on the testimonials first. So Control C and then Control V, and instead of home write here testimonials. Okay, and then here I will say towards the testimonials ID, means it will search in our body that where is the div with the ID testimonials, and then make spy as true so it can look around our body, and making the scroll as smooth as we have a general styling in the CSS, so we also here. So yeah, now let's save it. If I go to the testimonial, it's scrolling towards the testimonial, but it's not closing it. So why this is not working? If I try to change this on click set menu open false, I'm Control X from here and then pasting it here. Now if I click on testimonial, so yeah, it's closing. So wherever I am in the body, if I click on testimonials, I am here on home. So I should also have to give the IDs on the home.jsx programs. So let's see, for example, if I go to the home hero.jsx, and here I give ID home, and then okay, like this. Let's save it, and inside the header section again I will cut it down from here and paste it inside the link like this, and just copy all of these properties from here and paste for the home section here, and I will make its destination means towards the home div, and let's save it. If I click on home, so yeah, it is going to the home. So similarly I can do for all of the list items. So here I have given the IDs for my each div and also provided the link with the on click set menu open false and all the other stuff I have did. And here I have given one extra prop for only the home section active class. Active means this is our default class which is active. So now we can go to any section here. You can see that, and how cool this is. So guys, there is one thing still remaining in our website, that these hero numbers or XPS numbers should be act like as counting up numbers. So for that effect I am going to the hero.jsx, and here I have these numbers. So instead of simply writing this as plus 140, okay, let's remove this, and I have to import a package from npm which is the import number counter from the number counter, and then I'm going to use this class. So this here I am making a component of this dependency, and I will say that it should end upon 140 like this, and the starting point should be 100 from where the counting start, with the delay means the time of 4 ms. I don't know what is the exactly unit, ms or on alone second, and then give it a prefix, and prefix should be the plus sign like this. Now close the component, and if I save this and refresh the page, so here this is the counting up number with the plus sign as we have earlier. So similar effect I am going to give for all of the other numbers. So here I have given all that numbers the similar class number counter, and here is the result, how cool it's looking. Now let's move on towards the deployment of our this cool website. Let's do this. So go to the terminal. Okay, let's make me bigger text. Okay, so in the terminal I am opening a new one and write yarn build. So it will take some time to make a production build for us. Let's wait. So now our production build is available for us. So what I will do, I will go to its reveal in file explorer, and this is our build folder where the optimized production build is available. Now let's how to deploy it on the internet. For deployment I am using the Cloudflare pages. It's a free service, at least for our use. Now it's free, and if you don't have account then sign up, otherwise log in like me, and such a home page will be available for you. So here go to the pages section and open create a project and direct upload. Now give it a name, so fit club and zen keeps code. I know it's a bigger name, but let's make it. Okay, now create project. So here it is asking us to drag and drop all the assets. So I am going to here and just copying this build folder that is provided by the React for us and dropping it here, and just it will upload everything by itself. And how optimized is the build, you can see only 3 MB and 3 MB. So yeah, it's very optimized for us. So upload is successful, and just click on deploy the site, and here it is saying success. Our website is available to access from all over the world. So here is our website on the internet with the URL fitclub_ZAINKEEPSCODE, and it will provide some domain name like .pages.dev. So yeah, the animations and the responsiveness is working fine. You can check the responsiveness here. So yeah, it's also responsive for the mobile view, and I will also drop the link of website in the description, so you can also test it on your mobiles. So how cool all of these things. Here I am ending this tutorial, and if you really like this tutorial and you think you have learned a lot of new things by this tutorial, then do hit the subscribe and like button, and also support me please on the Patreon, because this channel is in the extreme need of your support. So I will meet you in some next tutorial. Till then, goodbye, take care.